Welcome to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you, Miss Lillian Bowman, who's the owner of Lillian's Tax and Business Services. She'll be with us for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. And like I said, I have a very special guest for you. Miss Lillian Bowman is here in the house tonight. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Lydia. I'm excited about being here tonight.
Well, we love having entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs who are based in the borough right here in Brooklyn and doing great things. So tonight we have a really great episode. We're going to fill you in on a little bit on the moolah, on finances, on tax preparation and business and all those good things that a lot of us really don't know a heck of a lot about. That we kind of get it wrong, and then we get into hot water and we need to come to people like you after to fix it.
I'm excited to be able to share.
So it's going to be a lot of knowledge, so I'm looking forward to that. But kind of let's take it back a little bit. Let's talk about who is Lillian Bowman.
Wow. Lillian Bowman is married, wife with 6 children.
Oh my goodness.
6 children, 6 grown-up children. 5 grandchildren, and I am self-employed entrepreneur since age 22. Long time now.
My goodness.
Long time.
That's a long time to be juggling being a full-time mother,
yes.
a wife, and not just to like 1 or 2 kids, 6 kids.
Yeah.
I can't even, that's a job within itself to do that. And building your business. So I'm kind of curious to hear that story because, of course, you're probably raising kids, trying to set your foundation and get yourself together. So that's really kind of interesting background. How did that all come about?
Yeah, you're going to hear more about that later on. But the main thing to know is that the children all play a major part of the business, which was, my inspiration for helping me to get the business started and grow it. But it was very challenging in the beginning because they were not all babies at the time. Everybody was old enough to help out and do things. And so when they got started, I just plugged everybody into where they needed to be plugged in, Lydia. So it really worked out. And the older children were able to watch out for the younger children, and we were getting chores done, and everything started in the house. So it was like really, it really
That's
just
blessed.
fell right into place. Everything
That's
just kinda
really
fell
nice when you
into
see things
place.
like that. And you know what? You did something that's really good that's probably a lot of people don't realize. You actually built your own capital. You built something for your own family, and you put them in positions. They don't have to go. If they want to seek employment elsewhere, they can.
Yes.
But they know they have something that's their own that they could kind of come back to.
Yeah, and they all pretty qualified to do work for other people as well. So I'm pretty excited about that because they learned a lot in the business. Yeah.
That's great. So a lot of big things. You did that. And from the age of 22 to now, you've been an entrepreneur. How long has Lillian's Tax and Business Services been as it is today?
We're landing on 3 decades now.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
3 decades. Always been in Brooklyn?
Always in Brooklyn. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, and so Brooklyn has been my home. And like I said, when we started, we were just in our apartment. And at the time when I first got started, I had 2 children, and they were my 2 older biological children. And then I got married, and we adopted some more children into the family, and then the family just kept growing while the business was growing.
You see, that's where the
Really
blessings
great
all come
thing.
together.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's
Yeah.
really, really good. So when you think about financial services, a lot of people sometimes have a misconception. They only think that, between January when you get those W forms sent to you until refund time, that's the only time you're going to need an accountant or any tax services or things like that. So kind of shed some light about really what goes on throughout the year outside of tax season.
Yeah, that is the most biggest misconception that people have. In our business, we're open year round. We serve people who need tax services who need to start business and get taxes in order, past due tax returns that haven't been filed for years, and also amended tax returns. Suppose you had your taxes done and you need to have them corrected now. So there's a need for taxes all year round, and some people, have this misconception that it's only those 4 months, but needless to say, it's a year-round service.
And you hear people say that all the time. I've actually heard people say, "What's the point of being an accountant? That's a seasonal job." And I'm like, that is not a seasonal job. Last time I checked, H&R Block was open all year. So there must be a reason for that, of course. But you brought up an interesting point about amended taxes. So what are some common cases where people would have to potentially ask for an amendment, and who could technically ask for that? Is it usually the person requesting it, or could it be on the IRS side they're asking for it?
The amendments, Lydia, are usually done by the individual. A person would have their taxes prepared, and maybe an error occurred on there that they weren't aware of at the time, because the 4 months that we're doing taxes, time is just going fast, and everything is in a fast pace. However, there could be an error that occurred at that time, but there could be information that was just misrepresented or maybe left off. Even in that case, that would be a need for you to amend the return. And preparers like myself, sometimes we just go into a tax return. If a new client comes into the office, we ask them to bring in their prior year and kind of look over what was done to see if we can find something that may have been left off or was, incorrectly prepared at that time, and offer to amend the tax return for the person. They'd be pretty grateful, because most of the time when you do that, it enables you to get even more money back, your refund.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's pretty good.
Cool.
And that's something that's nice when you think about it. You really want to get that done. So offline, I know we're talking about some deadlines, and so of course some people only think, again, these are in the misconceptions that commonly happen.
Yes.
That you don't have to file taxes every year.
That is really, really huge. There are so many people who, have these different beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
They have different
and they're not
beliefs.
facts.
Yeah, and they believe that they don't have to file their taxes every year. You've seen a couple of court cases coming up with some of our celebrities recently about filing taxes. The most recent, I think, with DMX or somebody recently trying to evade filing taxes. You're supposed to file your taxes every single year by April 15th the following year. And sometimes they extend it to the 18th or the 20th, depending on if there's a holiday or something that falls in. But we're supposed to file our taxes every single year by the end of April. Now, there is room for extensions. If you can't get the taxes filed by then, you have a 6-month automatic extension if you file for it in time. That's the big thing. If you didn't do it, it's not an automatic extension.
So you have to almost request it.
You have to file and request a 6-month extension. By the way, that's coming up. That keeps our doors open as well. Extensions are people who come in to file taxes during this time of the year, in the summer, August, September, after vacation.
Wow.
They wait until whenever, and they're like, oh, let me go finish filing my taxes. So those deadlines are coming up really right now.
So you can technically be denied an extension for whatever reason, or most times they pretty much give it to you.
They pretty much give it to everyone. They allow you automatically. You can have, if you file, a 6-month grace period to file your tax returns. And it used to be you had to have a real reason, but now it's almost anybody can do that.
Oh, well, that's pretty interesting. We'll hold that thought.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, sitting here with Miss Lillian Bowman. So Lillian, like we're saying offline, some common misconceptions that people kind of get themselves into hot water with because they think they don't have to file every year, or if they want an extension, they forget they have to ask for it. And they just assume they could submit 6 months late. So, great information on that. No, you have to actually file on time. If you want that 6 month extension, you have to request it. If you owe, what's the details on you owing them and how far back can they actually come back and audit and look in the files?
Wow. Number one, there are all types of penalties now. At one time, you used to didn't have to worry about that as much, but now so many things are changing, Lydia, as we speak. You probably know about some of those things coming down the line. But there's a penalty for every single thing that you do late. If you file late, if you pay late, if your extensions are filed and then you don't file at the time that you requested, there's a penalty involved for everything. And they can go back as far as 10, 15 years to penalize you, but you have to have your taxes done timely within that time period. If you're anticipating a refund, and most people know when they're anticipating a refund, you have up to 3 years to file it, okay? And they consider that timely. You have up to 3 years to file the return.
Okay.
However, if you don't file within those 3 years, there's something called statute of limitations. You lose out on your refund, and you can't go back. But if you owe money,
There's
they
no
can call
statute
you
of
back.
limitation.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. You have to pay back whatever you owe, plus interest, plus penalties, unless you can provide
So interest
them
on a
with
decade.
information.
If they catch you on something from 10 years ago, they will take 10. They would want the money from 2007, the tax due from 2007,
Yes,
plus
ma'am.
interest on a decade.
Plus interest. Plus interest. And you have to give them a really good reason for why you didn't file, or your filing was whatever was wrong with it at that time. You have to tell them. You have to really tell them, and then they have to accept that reasoning. Otherwise, you're just the one, with this big debt that you have to pay the government back. And most people, can't stand that. There's something called resolutions now for people who owe over $10,000 or more in taxes. You probably heard the commercials a lot and things like that. But tax preparers like myself, we help individuals as well with that. We can help you, first of all, find out what is the source for you owing that money.
Because you may not even be aware and want to know how to avoid running into the situation again.
Exactly. I have the perfect client right now who only was introduced to us just this past summer, a few months ago, and his debt goes back to 2006. Okay, but it's stating that because at the time that the return was filed, all of the information wasn't in. So that's one of the reasons why he was owing. If you can justify why you owed and then go back and correct it, they're very lenient when it comes to that. They will accept that, but you have to be able to tell them.
And that program actually shed some light on it because some viewers might be able to take advantage of that. So how do you have to go see a tax person,
A professional.
A professional.
Yes, ma'am.
Not somebody at
Tax
your church.
professional.
You could, and not knocking anybody at your church who does taxes, but I hear too many times, oh, I'm just gonna get my friend to do it. No, because down the line, that's how stuff comes back to you.
Absolutely. You want to find a tax professional, someone you can trust. Number one, okay? Because some people will accept your stuff and accept your documents and prepare your paperwork, and you still don't be satisfied. You have to build a relationship with the person who is dealing with your finances, kind of, sort of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very important. It's going to play a major role down the road. As you had asked me earlier, how long I've been doing this, decades. Some of my clients are 25 and 28 years now that I've been doing taxes for, because they trust you. They trust you to take care of their information and do the right thing by them. You understand? So it's not just I'm taking your paperwork and getting paid for a service. You got to do the right thing by your customer. So with the service that I was referring to, when a person gets into trouble and they owe back taxes for over $10,000 or more, there's a resolution, we call it. There's a resolution that we can attempt to help a person. We go in, find out the source, why you owe the money, and see how we can help you. If we can't help you with it, then we let you know that as well. Refer you out even